Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video, I've got two stories for you and both of them have updates. Now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole here, and it's by user NarrowRing5943. Am I the a-hole here for still not forgiving my brother for sleeping with my girlfriend? I, 26 male, recently went to a family gathering for my dad's 49th birthday. But before I get into that, you need to know the backstory of my brother and me, 23 male. This event happened around 3 years ago. Back then, I was dating this girl that I will call Carol, 25 female. Carol and I were high school sweethearts. She was my everything at the time, and I thought I was hers. It was around Thanksgiving time when I found out. I was shopping for desserts for Thanksgiving after staying at a friend's house since I was helping them move. I came home and couldn't find Carol or her stuff. I tried calling her, but it went straight to voicemail. I tried her location, but it looked like she had turned it off. I checked my front door cam and I saw my brother helping her move her things into his car and leaving with her. I then tried to call my brother, but he wouldn't answer either. At this point, I started to freak out and assume the worst. But then, I thought my brother would never do that to me. He was honestly like my best friend when we were kids, and even though we drifted apart kind of when I went to college, I still considered us best friends since we still talked and went out from time to time. I then called my dad and had my dad tell my mom to call my brother and to put it on speaker mode. My brother answered, and when my mom asked him where Carol was, he says, "She's living with me now. She broke up with OP." I felt numb at those words. I thought this was some type of sick joke, so I checked his Facebook and Instagram and saw them holding each other and kissing, and I broke down. Why was Carol doing this to me was going through my head all night, but then I was angry. How could my brother, my best friend, do this to me? I drove up to his house and banged on his door, yelling for him to open up, but Carol was the one that opened the door. I wish I could say that I held it together, but I turned into a crying mess once I saw her. Then my brother came from his kitchen and told Carol to go upstairs. That's when he told me that they had been having an affair ever since my second year of college and apologized to me for it. But then Carol just came back from the stairs and said that the whole reason why she left me the way she did was that she was sick of pretending to love me. I looked at her and realized that she wasn't the person I fell in love with. That was someone else. I then wondered if this was still worth it. I then realized that it wasn't and walked out. I try not to be a problematic person and make a scene when I know that whatever I do won't change the outcome of the situation. Don't get me wrong, I was beyond mad at her and my brother, and so I cut them out of my life on the spot. Now, fast forward back to the family gathering. I live in California now, and I'm still single. The family gathering was alright until my brother and his wife walked in with a stroller. Apparently, they got married and got busy. I really don't care anymore. I have been through enough therapy to know that I'm not the problem, she is. My brother was trying to strike up a conversation with me, but I ignored him and went back to the conversation I was having with one of my aunts. After a couple of hours, I forgot they were even there. But then I was heading to the basement to get some more ice cream, and my brother followed me and nearly gave me a heart attack. He awkwardly tried to apologize for what he had done to me those 3 years ago, and I walked past him. He didn't approach me again that night, but the next day I had gotten multiple texts from my mom telling me to just forgive my brother already. My mom and dad are heavy on the religious side and have already forgiven my brother, but I can't. He's the entire reason why I have trust issues now. He knew how much she meant to me and still did what he did and expected me to just be okay with it, but I don't think I'll ever forgive him in my life. Am I the a-hole here? Well, OP, in my opinion, no, you are not the a-hole. There's only 4 a-holes here, and you're not a single one of those. First, of course, your brother and your girlfriend because, well, obviously, for what they did to you. I really don't understand these people. Why be dating you and have an affair with your brother for so many years? Why not just break up with you? And that ridiculous thing that she said, oh, I broke up with you this way, you know, running away like a freaking coward because I was tired of pretending to love you? Just get the F out of here and shut up. And your brother, yeah, he's just as big a piece of crap as she is. Your parents are also a couple of a-holes, and I have to say, they don't really sound like religious people to me. They just sound like poser hypocrites. I'm guessing they want you to forgive your brother because this kind of rift looks bad on them or something like that. Because if they were really religious, they wouldn't forgive him either for what he did to you. That kind of betrayal, I think there's like 2 commandments that go against it. So yeah, OP, tell him to get bent and not give you that kind of crap. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Winterfront1431 says, nope, don't forgive him, he doesn't deserve it. He was banging your girlfriend behind your back and then let you find out by moving her out. Coward and a scumbag. Tell your mom to inform your brother that the next family gatherings he needs to stick to his floozy and not talk to you. And if he does, you'll have no issue humiliating him. He is no longer your brother, and I'd tell your parents if they try and push this, they will lose you completely. United Fig 6519 says, not the a-hole. He is no brother of yours since he decided to deceive you. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Most people misquote that because family. They have shown by their actions they do not deserve to be called family. The heat and excitement of the dirty affair was more important than family. Humiliating you and then expecting you to get over it. Nope. They prove to be dirty, disgusting people who will get karma coming to them. Nobody should be forced to forgive. Everyone has a right to enforce boundaries. Tell your parents they have a right to spend time with their son. However, if they want to keep in touch with you, the son who did nothing wrong, they should stop pushing you reconciling with a man who committed adultery and is an utter fool, and unlike your ex-brother, you still value morals and faithfulness, since you have been taught it is against God, since you said they are religious. RN Ginks 3 says, quote, my mom and dad are heavy on the religious side and already forgave my brother, end quote. I'm going to go out on a very long limb and take a wild guess that the reason they forgave your brother was so they could play grandparents. Remind them that in the Bible, adulterers were stoned, not forgiven. Not the a-hole. They don't tell you, the victim, when to forgive. If it were me, they'd both be dead to me. And if parents didn't back off on pushing me to reconcile, I'd cut them off too. Well, the community didn't hesitate one bit to tell OP that he was not the a-hole and that if his parents keep on pushing, he should cut them off too. And I absolutely agree with that as well. Now, unfortunately, OP didn't give us any additional context in the comments or an edit, which means we move on straight to the update. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to leave a like, a comment, that also helps, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And now let's move on with the update. First off, before I start with the update, I just want to thank the people who responded to my post. Though some of you were very intent on me getting back at my brother with violence and cutting him off, I know your hearts were in the right place. But I do want to clear some stuff up. I wasn't trying to paint my parents as the bad guys in my last post. They actually forgave him a couple of years ago before they even announced Carol was pregnant. I also believe that nothing would have come from me beating my brother into a pulp besides probably going to jail and causing rifts in the family. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the update. So I sat my mom and dad down with my brother in my parents' living room and finally told all of them how I felt. I told them that what my brother did was unforgivable. Not the type of unforgivable that means I'll hate him for the rest of my life, but the type of unforgivable that means that I want utterly nothing to do with him because I don't want a relationship with someone who could sleep with a friend's girlfriend behind his back, much less his brother. I finished my point by saying that that's simply not the type of person I want to be around. My brother tried to make a rebuttal by saying that he changed and would never do it again. He said it like he didn't marry and have a child with the girl I told him I wanted to marry. I then asked my parents how they were able to forgive him, and they said that they were really disappointed in him for a while, but when he got saved and started preaching, they forgave him since he turned a new leaf. I then asked if they would still forgive him if they were in the same position as me, and they said that they would forgive him eventually, which I don't believe at all. Yeah, that's BS. Anyway, we just went back and forth for a while until my brother said I shouldn't be holding grudges. I then told him that he shouldn't be sleeping with other people's girlfriends. He then looked at the ground and started to cry. My mom said that what I said was too harsh since he already repented for his sins. I then gave him the ultimatum most of you told me to do, that they could either accept the fact I want nothing to do with him and move on, or I would cut them off along with him and his family. My dad then said that I would die with regret if I didn't forgive my brother. I then asked if that was their final answer, and my mom said fine. She said they would come to terms with me not wanting to be in my brother's life. I then asked my dad if that's how he felt too, and he said yeah. I then thanked them for their time, looked at my brother and told him that no matter what he did, there was nothing he could do to get me to spend time with him. I told him to have a good life. I then walked out and drove to get some in and out and went to bed. That whole conversation was really mentally and physically draining, so I basically passed out a couple of seconds after hitting my bed. The next day, today, I decided to download some dating apps to try dating again to really move on from this whole situation. Oh, so he was saved, started preaching, and now your parents want you to forgive him because he repented for his sins. Yeah, I still think it's a PR issue that your parents don't like how it looks when the pastor or the preacher has a bad relationship with his own brother. But that doesn't really matter. The important thing, OP, is that you're doing okay and you're gonna give dating a chance again to see what's out there. Good for you for taking that leap. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning of the video, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Pizza3Way. Am I the a-hole for making my niece eat leftovers while others had pizza? My 39 male sister-in-law 31 female had her bachelorette party on Saturday. I volunteered to babysit her daughter, Tammy, fake name, 9 female, and my wife's cousin's kids, 9 male and 7 female, at my place while my wife, 37 female, her sister and their cousin went to the party. Also present were my own kids, 11 male, 7 female, and 2 female. For dinner, we decided to have pizza. I made the order through an app. Now, I still don't really understand what happened, but the order was taking forever and I was unable to contact the delivery guy. The pizza place wasn't helping either. After waiting for 90 minutes, I decided to cancel the order and pick a different restaurant. The reason I'd waited so long to cancel was because this was both my daughter's and Tammy's favorite pizza place. I managed to get my daughter to support the new restaurant by telling her they put ketchup on the pizza. Don't kill me. But Tammy was insistent on the first one. She had a crying fit while we were placing the new order. Even after she calmed down, she was still grumpy and short with the rest of us. At first, the kids and I made efforts to cheer her up, but then she started telling us to shut up or leave her alone whenever we tried. Throughout the wait, I reminded Tammy and the other kids that if they didn't behave, they wouldn't eat the pizza. She still complained about the new restaurant multiple times. When the pizza finally arrived, Tammy opened the box and said, "I'm not eating that crap." She said that in front of the younger 3. At that, I put leftover chicken pasta in the microwave and told her that was her dinner. She started crying, saying she wanted the pizza and would behave herself, but I held my ground. Tammy didn't eat any of the pizza, but all the other kids did. My sister-in-law is calling me unfair and cruel for forcing Tammy to have leftovers while the other kids ate pizza. She's also accusing me of favoring my wife's cousin's kids and my own, and insisted that there were better punishments that didn't involve excluding Tammy. My wife's completely on my side. Her cousin is on the fence. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, in my opinion, no, you're not the a-hole. First of all, you were doing your sister-in-law a favor by babysitting Tammy. If she doesn't like the way you do things in your house, for her next bachelorette party, she can find a different babysitter. I understand kids can get frustrated, but that's no way to behave yourself. She's also 9 years old. She should know what those words mean, and personally, I don't think those are words that a kid should be saying. There are other ways to let off steam or say you're in disagreement with something. But really, none of what your sister-in-law or even I have an opinion on is relevant, because the bottom line is your house, your rules. That's it. Tammy was ill-behaved and disrespectful to you in your house. That shouldn't fly. So I agree with you. She didn't want to eat it. Well, there's only one other thing she can eat: chicken pasta, and that's it. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Just a Girl 23 says, not the a-hole. You still fed her, so it's not like it was a really unreasonable punishment. Information: what did others think was a more reasonable punishment? Tammy effed around and found out. Welcome to real life, kiddo. She's obviously not used to people following through on their threats of punishment. Even ignoring the tantrums, the swearing, and in front of the really little ones justifiably sealed her fate, in my opinion. And OP responds, quote, what did others think was a more reasonable punishment, end quote. My sister-in-law suggested that I could have told her about it after she picked up Tammy, and she would have figured something out. Prize Diamond 7874 says, Tammy is 9 and old enough to understand consequences. Being a general pill and then refusing the pizza and calling it crap left you no choice but to serve her something else. If you had the patience, you could have played it out with her until she apologized and agreed the pizza was fine, but it's really not required, especially when she is ruining an otherwise good time. Not the a-hole. Late Night Neophyte says, my daughter once shouted, I'm not effing eating that slop. My reply was, you're right. For the next 3 nights, you are cooking your own dinner and may not eat anything anyone else makes or purchases, even if it's your favorite meal. She has yet to repeat that mistake. Not the a-hole. OP's edit. To clarify, the pizza arrived at 8:30. The kids had snacks at 6 and a large group lunch before that, so none of them were hungry. Also, some people seem to think this was a party or social gathering for the kids. It wasn't. I was babysitting. I was the only adult responsible for them. Also, Tammy is neurotypical, and once she told us to leave her alone, we did just that. Still, Tammy knows what words like the one she said mean, and that she's not supposed to say them. I think that was the nail in the coffin for me. And I only told my daughter about the ketchup because she likes it on pizza. None of the other kids heard me talking to her. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and he did the right thing by disciplining Tammy in his house. And again, if the sister-in-law has a problem with that, she can get a different babysitter that aligns more with her type of parenting. In any case, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hey Reddit, it's been almost 2 weeks since I posted, and I can now say that the situation has been resolved. First of all, I want to state that I always knew this was a parenting problem. We love my wife's sister, but she's not a great person. She's loud, abrasive, and occasionally selfish. Sister-in-law also has the mouth of a sailor. She shares that last trait with both my wife and their mother. But unlike them, she can't control herself in inappropriate settings. She doesn't swear around young children and has taught Tammy that swearing is bad, but doesn't punish or berate her for doing so. Sister-in-law is part of the kids plus swearing equals comedy squad, so she usually just laughs. While I'm also an honorary member of that squad, there's a time and place for that. This is why I was appalled at those who said Tammy's actions were normal behavior for a 9-year-old. It's not. That part I already knew was rude. My question was whether I was right to deny her pizza over it. And after reading your comments, I've concluded I did the right thing. Some of you advised me to refuse to babysit Tammy from now on. I decided I wanted to give sister-in-law and Tammy an opportunity to apologize first. My wife called her sister and told her that neither me or her would agree to babysit Tammy again without an apology. Sister-in-law didn't think they had anything to apologize for. They had a long discussion over the phone. It stopped when sister-in-law called their mother, who took my and my wife's side. Mother-in-law agreed that we had every right to refuse to host someone in our home who didn't respect us. That's when sister-in-law finally apologized to us. Tammy did the same soon after. We have no interest in blowing things out of proportion, so both apologies have been accepted. Sister-in-law's wedding is later this month, and we're all attending. I don't want people to think my niece and sister-in-law are bad people. They can be difficult at times, but we love them both. So both my wife and I have agreed to continue babysitting Tammy on occasion. But if history repeats itself, I won't hesitate to nip this in the bud. The main piece of advice I'm following from your comments is to, while babysitting, treat everyone the same and hold everyone to the same standards as my own kids. Absolutely agree. It's what I did with the pizza fiasco, and I'll continue to do it in the future. On a lighter note, we live in Latin America, and the overwhelming surprise at some details I shared in my post, including military time and ketchup on pizza, yes, I know it's awful, but it's popular with some kids around here, was definitely interesting. Alright OP, I'm gonna take this as a happy update. You got an apology which was accepted and things can go back to normal now. You've also established clear boundaries and everything is right as rain. Thank you so much for sharing OP and enjoy the wedding. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.